Hey all, welcome to the GI Justin channel. I hope you all are having a great day. I was until I got a piece of information from somebody that is one of the scariest things that I think I've read in quite a while. And, everybody talks about the pandemic and everybody has their beliefs on it with this and that as to whether it came from China or, if it came from bats and the whatever, wherever the conspiracy theory will lead you or wherever you choose to believe, totally your thing in terms of the vaccines and all that stuff. Um, the thing that is scary about this to me, because the pandemic, so many people died from it. A lot of that has to do with because we didn't know what we were fighting, and something is now coming along that is significantly scarier than the coronavirus by a factor of about 10,000. And it sounds as though the CDC is super concerned that we may have an outbreak of it here. So basically, um, CDC has come out and they're publishing a warning about a virus called the Marburg virus, which is a virus that is absolutely lethal to human beings. It's very much like Ebola and has put out a warning for our doctors to begin keeping an eye out for Marburg-like symptoms because there have been 2 confirmed outbreaks, and they're saying that this disease can cross-reference itself between humans and animals. So a human can pass it to an animal can pass it to a human, and the CDC wants to increase the awareness of this disease, which is spread basically through infected blood or bodily fluids, but has the ability to mutate to an airborne strain. So they're saying that the risk as of right now is undetermined, but the clinicians should be on the lookout for it. So basically, they're saying the disease has the potential to become an epidemic, according to the WHO, which has very high fatality rates. Basically, they're saying up to 90% of the people that are infected with Marburg die of it. Incubation period is 2 to 21 days, and I think that is what bothers me the most about it. You mean to tell me somebody can get this thing and just walk around spreading it for 21 days before they show any outward signs of the disease? I I think that in itself is highly terrifying. And the symptoms of this disease are headache, fever, fatigue, and unexplained bleeding from all orifices of the body, combined with muscle and joint pain and loss of appetite. You know, so basically, all the worst things. You're going to bleed out of every single thing in your body until you have no blood left and you just die. Think about that. Like with coronavirus, you didn't feel good and we stayed home and it shut down America. This thing, you'll have people bleeding to death in the streets. So I think the thing that I find the most concerning there, and it's something I think they kind of slow play in the report, is that the symptoms of the Marburg disease are very similar to other things like malaria and typhoid fever, things that we can see in other countries across the world. Especially these tropical countries where malaria is still a really big deal. Well, what happens when you get to the point where that is propagating itself in countries that see malaria all the time, and then magically it's not malaria, and with our country completely open back up, all it takes is one person, 21 days. I mean, you can travel in 3 days, be back to where you're from, and you still have, like, who knows, a ton of days until that thing shows itself. So CDC, like I said, they say that the mortality rate is between 25 to 90%. There is no cure, there is no vaccine, and the only thing they can do is what they call therapeutic measures, which basically means they're going to try to help your body get through it on its own, which, if mortality rate is up to 90%, I don't really understand how your body handling on its own is really going to do a heck of a lot of good. Given fluids, great. So we're going to try to produce more blood while you lose it out of your body. That's not, hope is not a plan in this case, in my opinion. So I really think that with us just coming out of the pandemic, everyone is absolutely predisposed not to be super worried about these things. I think, to not have that ultra high level of care and concern where they can just say, oh yeah, it's just another thing. We'll do what we did with Corona. We'll batten down the hatches in 2 weeks to stop the spread, and all that. But with this thing, it's not just I don't feel great and I can't smell and I don't taste the flavor of peaches anymore. Now it's you're going to have, muscle and joint pain, debilitating pain, and you just lay there on your bed and bleed out over the course of 10 days. So I think this is something that cannot be overstated enough, that if it's important enough for the CDC and the World Health Organization to issue a warning over this, it's not something where you need to start building your bunker right now, but it's definitely something that brings us back to what we've been talking about, which is making sure that you have a refined plan for how you're going to handle things in your life. If it's something like this, having, good hygiene at the house, ensuring that you're, making sure your kids are washing their hands and doing the things they should do. Pay attention. The interesting fact, the dirtiest thing in a restaurant is the menu. True statement. Look it up. Science. But paying attention to these things to know that, all right, if something like this happens, if we see malaria cases in America, maybe it's time to be out front of that and already be looking at what your plan is going to be and how you're going to protect yourself and your family. Ensuring that you've got some latex gloves on hand to protect your hands, and just all these things that we always talk about and we've discussed several times now. I think this is one of those things, just like it was with coronavirus, where they kind of slow played it on the front end. There's people sick from this mystery illness and everything's okay. Just, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to the point where, we're flying so many cases of coronavirus when I was a helicopter pilot that literally hospitals had nowhere to put them. So I say all that to say this, pay attention to this thing, pay attention to what's happening with this Marburg, because if it does have the chance to do what coronavirus did, it will make the COVID outbreak look like a walk in the park, because there is no cure. There are no actual therapeutics. I mean, it is just nightmare stuff, and it could be on its way with our travel network being what it is. So not to be scary, because that's not the point of this channel. The point of the channel is to have a plan and think about what it is you're going to do. So we've discussed that in a bunch of these previous episodes about different ways you can prepare to shelter your family, take care of them. I'm going to link them up here in the top at the very beginning of this so you can go back and relook at it. But definitely watch those videos, because I think that plays into this entire thing. The importance of thinking about these things. You don't have to freak out. Panic is not necessary. Panic's never good. But think about how you would handle this problem and how are you going to take care of your family and what moves are you going to make to ensure your family's success. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I really appreciate the comments. It's so much fun to interact with you guys and talk with you about these and all the other things we've been talking about. Yesterday's or 2 days ago video, super fun talking about my everyday carry and how I move on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I'm out and about today and there's tons of people here, so maybe I dial it back to a certain level. Maybe watch that one too. So thank you guys for subscribing. The love you guys are showing the channel is amazing, and I truly, truly do appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, definitely reach out and let me know, and have a great day.